So I was in a beginner's class, like for whatever reason they had like beginners and an advanced. So they didn't really like you to hang out much to watch the advanced class, but they let me because I just was really like studying wrestling, So it was probably 3 weeks into my training, maybe a month. No, about a month, because Rusty had already had that talk with me. Do you think this is real, kid? And then I decided to stay. And then once I decided to stay, I was all in. So it had to probably be a month and a half into my training, and I was staying to watch the advanced class. And some of the people in the class, if I remember, I was like Soul Man, Alex G, Brown Man, and all them. Well, Corporal Kirshner walks in, Mike walks in. He's like, ugh. And all of a sudden, these guys were lacing their boots up. But when he walks in, so you're sitting there, I'm waiting for this class to start. They're lacing up their boots. He walks in, they start unlacing their boots. I'm like, what's going on here, And then he looks around. Hey, anybody want to get in the ring and roll around? And they're like, oh, we're getting ready to leave. I'm like, he goes, what about you, asshole eyes? I'm like, asshole eyes? Okay.
That's a new one. Okay.
Yeah, the blue eyes, I guess. Although he had blue eyes, but anybody with blue eyes, you tend to call asshole eyes, right? So I don't know, particularly me all the time. Still, to like, when I just saw him not too long ago at a convention, but I said, sure, right? So, I roll in there. I don't know if you've ever seen Corporal Kirshner, but he's intimidating. Look, his presence is intimidating. He's bigger than life. Like, he talks like this, and like, you've heard stories in the circles and the loops of the people he's beat up and the guns and the weapons and just all the insanity. And you're like, oh, this is Corporal Kirshner. Okay. So, a lot of people knew him as RJ Reynolds when he first started. But, so I get in there with him. He pummels me. He just beats me pillar to post all over that ring. And then he puts me in a figure 4 at the end of all this. It seemed like a lifetime, but it was probably 5 minutes that I got beat on in there, right? But it felt like a lifetime. And he puts me in a figure 4, and I truly felt like my legs are going to just snap any point. I don't know what to do. I was just sitting there. I wasn't crying out loud. I just took it. And he gets up. He lets me go. And he goes, hey, kid. If anybody ever does this to you, they're messing around with you. They're effing with you. He used the F word. They're effing with you. Lesson 1. They always said to kill them if they do it. Lesson 1. He goes, if anybody ever does this to you, they're effing with you. Kill them. Lesson 1. And he walks off. I'm like, lesson 1? like what? And then, oh my goodness. I could give you 3 lessons up to 3, and then I just started forgetting them after that. But the 1, 2, and 3 always stood out. Lesson 2 was, what was it? So I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, but
no, this is a good story.
So I had just lost a good job running heavy equipment over wrestling. Like I could probably make $300-400 that day on a Saturday for half a day, and I had a $50 wrestling show I had to do. Now this company took really good care of me. Like, hey man, you got to make a decision. We really need you on this job site. And I said, well, I have a wrestling show. They go, we really need you on this job site. If you don't show up, we're going to have to let you go. So I waited out. But, of course, I went to the $50 wrestling show I didn't get paid for. So, so I didn't make anything, and I lost my job. So he comes in. He goes, hey, you asshole eyes. He goes, heard you need a job. Show up here at this address at like 8 p.m. or something, 7 p.m. So I show up. It's like the infamous Button South. I don't know if you ever heard of the Button South. But it was the rock club, like in the 80s, the late 80s and all that. It used to be like the Angora Ballroom, and it became the Button South. It's now the Cheetah in Highlandale.
Oh,
so right,
that
so
I know.
so it keeps the hours up to now. All right, kick it in. Knows what Cheetah is for sure. But it was called the Button South then. So they would have bands play every weekend, like Saigon Kick. I saw Marilyn Manson with the Spooky Kids start out there. I saw Johnny Depp play there, like when he was trying to be in a band. All the local bands. But they'd also bring a lot of other bands. And so it was a really infamous rock and roll bar, but it was open till like 6, 7 a.m. Ridiculous hours. So like you've seen all kinds of craziness in there. So I show up there and I'm like, oh. And they're like, we're getting in the office, and the manager's like, so like you're 21. I go, no, I'm like, I think it was 18 or 19. I think I'm 19. I'm 19. I'm trying to remember. I was either 18 or 19. I might have been 18. Here's your 21, Kirsten. I'm like, no, I'm like, and he goes, you're 21, asshole eyes. And like the manager's standing right there. Like, so they give me the job. I go, I'm 21, And this place is a slaughterhouse. You wear a white tuck shirt, and you had to wear a maroon cummerbund. But I carried 2 white tuck shirts all the time. But I'd always end up in a bar back shirt by the end of the night because it just looked like leather face. Something I was just covered with blood from the knockdown dragouts in there. And I was a nice bouncer, but so it's my first day. I come back, I start a job, and I'm in the bathroom, and I'm standing up at a urinal, urinating, peeing, and all of a sudden my face meets like the tile wall. Wow, and I'm down. I kind of crumble a little bit. I turn around and I see it's Kirshner, right? So like I'm trying to like drive my knees into his quads, and I see him leaning over me, so I catch him with the back of my head, and I catch him under the chin, and I pop him up, and I start driving him across with my knees and hit, keep pumping your knees, and I drive him all the way back across the bathroom. He's like, lesson 2, don't ever let your guard down, asshole eyes. And lesson 2, I got pee all over me. I was peeing at the process. So my lesson 2 was to never let my guard down, so he beat me up. Lesson 3 was, I had put this couple out in the parking lot. They said, never, go outside the doors after you get into the door. Let the police or the front door guy deal with it. So I get a couple out there. He goes, oh, he's out there. She's fighting his girlfriend. You got to go break that up. So I sent him out there. So the husband and the girl start beating on me, and he comes in laughing. Lesson 3, never do domestics. And that was like my whole life with him. He took me in. I lived with him when the IRS seized the place Luna and I were in. We had 2 properties, but one we were redoing. Long story, but I got a lot of history with him, and he mentored me in the craziest of ways. He mentored me, and rest in peace, my friend. To your wife, Tina, I'm sorry for the loss. They're probably not here, but want to send positive vibes and prayers to the whole family, Hayden and Kyle, his sons, and to me, it's a terrible loss. But Corporal Kirshner, may you rest in peace. But I love you, man. But, so there's a lot of loss. And I heard there's another person that passed away in California, but it's not out there yet, so I don't want to put it out there. But I also want to send some positive vibes up to the San Francisco area way. So, 3 losses in like a week. It's very sad sometimes in professional wrestling. 2 of them were 64, I believe, and I'm not sure how old Marcus was.
That young?
Yeah.
He was only 64?
Yeah.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and Marcus is what, in his
30s, yeah.
30s, yeah. So very sad. All prayers and positive vibes to all their families and loved ones and friends,